This week, we're talking about the future of work, how technological and cultural changes are transforming our workplaces. This hour, we look at the future of freelancers. Joining us now, Xenios Thrasyvoulou, the founder and CEO of PeoplePerHour, an online platform giving businesses access to freelance workers. Xenios, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I was just taking a look at one of your most recent surveys. It says very interesting things about the gap between what freelancers earn and what full-time employees earn, and it really does show us that freelancers can earn quite a lot more.
Yes, indeed. Right now, more important than that, I would say the growth in the wage of freelancers over the last 5 to 6 years since the onset of the recession, in fact, has been 5 to 6 times higher than the average national wage. And now stands about 37% above in absolute terms to the average national wage. So not only are freelancers earning more now, but they're actually, their wage is growing faster than those of full-time employees.
I just saw, and I know this is obviously pertaining to what's going on this side of the world, but I was looking at an NFIB, a small business survey in overnight trade from the United States, and it was saying the number one, and I thought it was amazing, the number one headache for small businesses in the United States right now is finding qualified workers. Is that a similar situation to what you're seeing here in Europe, and is that one of the reasons behind the higher premium that freelancers can command?
Partly, yes. I think in many fields the complexity of work is increasing exponentially. Take marketing, for example. Today a marketer needs to understand social media platforms that weren't around only a few years ago. They need to have so many more skills, a wider gamut of skills than someone, say, 10 years ago. So to find these in one person is becoming increasingly difficult. So I think there's a theory that we're entering the age of hyper-specialization, whereby more and more companies need to find those very niche skills, and it's easier to tap into the on-demand economy, find freelancers on platforms like PeoplePerHour on demand.
I hear you on the salary side, and that is undeniable that they earn more. But is there more there is more inherent job insecurity. You don't have the guarantees that you have from being a full-time employee as well. And I wonder if this suits the companies more than the individuals as well, because we all want a bit of job security, and of course we all want that increase in income as well. And I wonder if companies now, reluctant to take on all the commitments that come with full-time employees, are forcing people into freelance with this lure of, well, you'll earn more money. So there is perhaps almost a mental downside as well, in fact, that you're just not sure where the next buck's coming from in some ways.
Yeah. Well, it is a little bit of a myth because 87% of freelancers, when polled, say that they would never go back into employment, so they choose to be self-employed, and something like 60% of them say that they rate flexibility above all else. So now they're earning more money, they're flexible, they have a better work-life balance, they choose who to work to.
Zero hours contracts as well.
But I think they choose to do that, right? So there's no one forcing.
Well, some students may do, but a lot of people would like to have longer-term employment, would like to know how many hours they're getting at the start of the week, wouldn't they?
There's always going to be that trade-off between stability and the flexibility and freedom that something like self-employment gives you. And for sure, it's not going to be for everybody, but from those who do choose, and now 1 in 3 people are freelancers, that's projected to be 1 in 2 people by 2020. There are people who choose to and don't want to go back into employment.
Is it a tax dodge? Sorry, man. It's a tax dodge for me because I look at some of these people who are now bemoaning their lot on their salaries in the BBC, looking at everyone else. I know there's a big, massive gender inequality issue. I don't want to go there today. But quite frankly, a lot of freelancers set themselves up as companies actually those of us on PAYE pay a hell of a lot more tax than the individuals who are set themselves up as companies as well. So it's a bit of a tax dodge, isn't it?
There's no way around taxes, right? So if you're self-employed, you still pay taxes.
Corporation tax is around about 20-21%. The top rate of PAYE is between 40 and 50%.
Well, at the same token, freelancers have more expenses. They have to pay for some of the benefits out of their own pocket. I think that it's the drivers and all the data would suggest that the drivers behind this are socioeconomic benefits. They are work-life balance benefits, flexibility, people wanting to be in command of their own destiny versus taxation or saving on taxes. All the data would support that. We did a survey recently with the University of Westminster, which showed that, again, quoting the same stats as before, more than 87% of people who are freelancing say that they would not go back into employment, and they say that they're happier because they have the flexibility to do what they want in life.
Yeah, I mean, even if freelancers have a lot more expenses, at the end of the day, most of them are a deduction anyway, aren't they? If you've set yourself up as a corporation. But I want to go back to, and I don't want to flog this dead horse, but I want to go back to what you were both talking about, and that is, the choice to become a freelancer, whether it's because you've been let go by your company, who's trying to have a more flexible, employee base, or whether it's because you've actually chosen to do it. You've said that most freelancers you've spoken to would absolutely not want to go back into full-time employment. They might say that now because they've had a little taste of the freedom, but at the very beginning, do you have any stats on how many of the freelancers in your surveys actually chose themselves to go that way, as opposed to being forced into the situation by being let go?
Well, the UK economy now is in full employment. Technically, it's never been better, right? So the job creation is at record highs. So there's no argument to be made now that freelancing is mandatory for anyone, given that there is record job creation. Arguably, that could have been true back in 2008, 2009, at the onset of the financial crisis. It's noteworthy that freelancing, self-employment, has added more than almost 50% of job creation since the onset of the financial crisis. So it's been a major contributor to the recovery that we're seeing today.
Why is it a 21st century phenomenon there? Just give us kind of like, for all the younger people watching, or even older people watching who want to change their lifestyles, why do you think it's such a great lifestyle thing for the 21st century rather than the 20th century? More flexible working, you can work from home more, you can do it just...
It's empowered by technology is the simple answer, right? This, even in one generation ago, even 10 years ago, wasn't that. You weren't able to do this. You didn't have things like voice over IP and sort of Skype and sort of, storage in the cloud. Now you can set up an email address and you can you can kit out your spare bedroom into an office in like an hour, and you're all set.
Yes.
This wasn't possible. When I started my first business back in 2002, I remember I had to buy kits and servers and install software and have IT people come and sort it all out for a lot of money. So you don't have that problem today. So the empowerment that the internet gives you on platforms like PeoplePerHour and Dropbox and Skype and Gmail allow you to operate instantly as a self-employed person and get out there and find work for yourself.
That's fantastic. And I do like the copy that says in your bio, when you, within 6 months of working for a FTSE 100 company, you realise you were allergic to the bureaucracy of large corporations. I think we're all allergic to the bureaucracy of large corporations, even those of us enjoy working for a large corporation as well.
It's a contagious allergy, that one, isn't it?
It is, really.
But it also dropped out of the FTSE while I was there, so I thought that was a sign.
Oh, it wasn't Dimension Data, was it? That was the top of the market. Xenios, lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Xenios Thrasyvoulou, who's the founder and CEO of PeoplePerHour. And all...